This is ShadowQuant Forex Edition, brought to you by AriesLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Thursday, May 7, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. The dollar is holding firm at 1.1749, with yen under heavy short pressure. Gold is up 0.1% at 4,699.64, and the VIX is at 17.38. The market is in a state of cautious risk-off, with the BOE and Fed data ahead. Let's start with a recap. Pulse, you called bearish on cable with a target of 1.3585, but the price was flat at 1.3594. Grid, you called bearish on the same with a target of 1.358, also flat. CIPHER, same. SPECTER, you had the most aggressive call at 1.356, but the price didn't move. Apex, your target was 1.357, also flat. All inconclusive. SPECTER, you had a higher accuracy at 55%, but you need to be more consistent.
I didn't miss a beat. The market was range-bound, and I called the downside. I'm not going to be a contrarian just for the sake of it.
CIPHER, your accuracy is 48%. You've been on a bit of a streak. Any changes to your approach?
I'm not going to abandon my flow data just because the price is flat. I'm sticking with the CFTC positioning.
Grid, you're at 47%, same as Pulse. Pulse, you've been bearish on cable for 5 straight calls. You need to reconsider that bias unless new data emerges. I'm not blind to the data, but the yen is heavily shorted and the dollar is holding. I'm not changing my stance unless the flows shift. Let's break down the market. The dollar is modestly lower, but the yen is under heavy short pressure. The fear index is at 14 and the VIX is at 17.38. The CFTC data shows a net short in yen of 75,802 contracts. Let's go to SPECTER.
The dollar is holding up because of the flight to safety. The VIX is at 17.38 and gold is up 0.1%. The risk-off sentiment is here, and the CFTC data backs it up. I'm not seeing a breakout in the dollar.
I agree, but the dollar isn't just holding, it's being supported by the fear and the CFTC positioning. The yen is overbought, and the bears are in control. Let's talk about dollar-yen. It's at 156.394, with a 5-day range of 155.033, 157.932. Grid, what's your take on the technicals?
The pair is consolidating at 156.39 and the 5-day low is at 155.033. If we break below that, the bearish bias becomes stronger. The 157.932 level is a key resistance, but I don't see a breakout just yet.
The CFTC data shows a strong net short in yen of 75,802 contracts. That's a big bearish signal. The dollar is being supported by the flow, not just the macro. I think the pair is going to test the 155.033 level.
I'm not sure. The 5-day range is tight, and the VIX is at 17.38. The dollar is holding, but I don't see a clear path to the 155.033. I think the pair will stay in the range unless the data changes.
Now let's look at euro-dollar. It's at 1.1749 with a 5-day range of 1.1676, 1.1797. Pulse, what's your sentiment read? The sentiment is mixed. The euro is being held back by the Fed's policy uncertainty, but the dollar isn't breaking through. The euro is consolidating, and the CFTC data shows a net long in euro of 28,882 contracts. I see a potential for a break above 1.1797, but it's not guaranteed.
The flow data supports the euro's consolidation. The CFTC positioning is net long, but the dollar is still holding. I think the euro is waiting for a catalyst. The Fed data is coming up, and that could push it higher.
From a technical standpoint, the euro-dollar is in a tight consolidation. The 1.16767 is a strong support, and the 1.1797 is a key resistance. If we break above 1.1797, I'd say the pair is heading to 1.185. But if it breaks below 1.16767, that's a bearish signal.
I'm not buying the breakout. The VIX is at 17.38, and the market is still cautious. I'd wait for the Fed data before making a call on euro-dollar.
Now let's look at gold. It's at 4,699.64, with a 5-day range of 4,500.91, 4,723.5. SPECTER, what's your take on gold?
Gold is up 0.1%, which is a sign of safe haven demand. The fear index is at 14, and the VIX is at 17.38. The dollar is holding, but the gold is benefiting from the risk-off sentiment. I think the pair will test 4,723.5, but it's not a given.
The flow data shows that gold is being bought by institutional investors. The CFTC data shows a net long in gold of 4,438 contracts. That's a strong signal. I think the pair is going to test the 4,723.5 level, but the dollar is still in the way.
From a technical perspective, the gold is in a tight range. The 4,723.5 is a key resistance, and the 4,500.91 is a strong support. If we break above 4,723.5, that's a bullish signal. But if we break below 4,500.91, that's a bearish one.
The sentiment is mixed, but the fear is still high. The dollar is holding, and the gold is being bought as a safe haven. I think the pair will stay in the 4,500–4,723 range unless the data changes.
Grid flagged the 156.394 level on dollar-yen, but CIPHER showed the net short in yen, which suggests a passable retest of 155.033. The euro-dollar is in a tight range, with Pulse and Grid both pointing to key levels. Gold is benefiting from the risk-off sentiment, with CIPHER and SPECTER both highlighting the flow and sentiment. The dollar is still the driver, and the CFTC data supports the bearish bias in yen and the bullish in euro.
SPECTER, you pushed back on Grid read on dollar-yen. Let's dig into that.
I think Grid is overemphasizing the technicals. The 156.394 is a consolidation level, but the flow is what's driving the pair. The CFTC data shows a net short in yen of 75,802 contracts, which is a stronger signal than any technical level. I'm not seeing a breakout yet.
I understand the flow is important, but the technicals are also a factor. The 156.394 is a key support, and the 157.932 is a resistance. If we break below 155.033, that's a bearish signal. The flow supports the technicals, not the other way around.
The CFTC data supports the bearish bias in yen, which means the dollar is likely to hold. The technicals are just a reflection of that. I agree with Grid on the support and resistance, but the flow is what's driving the price.
I'm not convinced. The VIX is at 17.38, and the market is still cautious. I think the pair will stay in the range until the data changes.
My 24-hour call. Dollar-yen bearish. Target 155 by next session.
My 24-hour call, dollar-yen bearish, target 155 by next session.
My 24-hour call, dollar-yen bearish, target 155 by next session.
My 24-hour call, dollar-yen neutral, target 156 by next session.
My 24-hour call, dollar-yen bearish, target 155 by next session.
The consensus is bearish on dollar-yen, with a target of 155. The debate centers on whether the technicals or the flow will drive the price. Watch the CFTC data and the VIX for clues. The dollar is still the main driver, and the yen is under pressure. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Forex Edition. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.